way you did that. That was excellent. Yeah, yeah. Oh, well done. Yeah. Let me demonstrate. You stand just there.
Yeah.
Right. So that you know the reason I get people standing on the mat, right, is so that we can detect the pressure transfer in their feet, right? What you see with the best players, you know, when you really study all the best players on, or not just the best players on tour, but the tour players in general, and the best golfers, right? They all push down in the back foot somewhat during the backswing, right? And it's generally to about halfway back, right? When the left arm's parallel with the ground. Once they get to there, they're kind of max loaded in their back foot, and also the pattern tends to be in the heel as well. So when you turn your toes out and you straighten your back leg a little bit, flex your front leg a little bit, that back hip moves up and behind you as the leg straightens up, and the hands and arms are moving around your body, and that puts more, so you got more mass over your heel. That kind of tends to put a little bit more pressure in your heel on the way back. Now once you get to halfway back here, then what happens is, even though the club's finishing the backswing, you start to see them start to move into their front foot. So the pressure starts to move into their front foot, and then by halfway down there, when the left arm's parallel with the ground on the way down, they've maxed out under the front foot, right? So all of the pressure transfer happens between halfway back and halfway down, right? Whereas most people stay on there because they sway too much over their back foot, right? The head moves over the back foot, the chest moves over the back foot, the pelvis moves over the back foot, and then you're stuck over the back foot. So even though as you start pulling the club down and start moving into the front foot, you're already too late compared to the best players. It's like the best players are starting their downswing before the backswing's completed. Make sense?
Yeah.
So then you combine that with leaning the shaft a bit more forward, getting the pelvis a bit more over your front foot in the setup, which gets a bit more pressure in the front foot, right? Which gets a bit more pressure in the front foot, right? And then you combine that with leaning the shaft forward a little bit more pressure in the front foot, a bit more pelvis over the front foot, and then as you go back, I don't mind a bit of sway in the takeaway. That helps promote the pushing down in the back foot, right? Which is what you see them all do, right? But by the time they're halfway back, they're all starting to move into their front foot, and you cannot move the pressure into your front foot if you continue to sway over the back foot and get stuck over your back foot. That brings all the ground behind the ball into play. So don't forget, we want the divot after the ball. So we've got to start to learn to push into the front foot sooner, right? Get that pressure moving into the front foot. That starts the hip sway. All of this revolves around getting those hips swaying more towards the target, right? And if we can get that pelvis swaying more towards the target, start pushing in the front foot more, then as you come down, then you start to get into right tilt sooner, because your pelvis is more forward than your upper body, which gives you more right tilt. And what happens there is, the more right tilt you have, like the faster you can get into right tilt, right, that way, by the time the shaft gets parallel with the ground, that kind of pulls your hands round on the circle. So the other thing is, as we come down to impact, we need those hands getting pretty much underneath your left shoulder, right? That's the center of the swing. And if your hands can get underneath your left shoulder at impact, that's going to help keep the shaft leaning forward, right? So weight moving forward by getting your front foot sooner. As you start to sway the pelvis, because you're pushing in the front foot, that then changes the spine angle, which changes the tilt, which pulls the hands round on the circle there, which then helps get your hands forward, shaft leaning forward to hit down on it, get the divot after the ball. Make sense?